The box was wrapped in cheerful graduation paper, blue and gold, with little mortarboards printed across it. It was tied with a silver ribbon. It looked expensive, thoughtful, like the kind of gift you plan weeks in advance. I was 22 years old, standing in my parents' backyard surrounded by aunts, uncles, cousins, and family friends who had come to celebrate my college graduation. Pre-med degree with honors. Medical school acceptance letter already framed in my dorm room. Admission to Johns Hopkins with a partial scholarship. 4 years of brutal organic chemistry, physics, biology labs, volunteering at hospitals, and studying until 3 in the morning. All of it culminating in this moment. My father handed me the box with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. There was something performative about it, like he was setting up a joke only he found funny. "Open it, Anna. Your real graduation present." I tore through the paper while everyone watched. The backyard had gone quiet, that expectant silence when everyone's waiting to see what someone received. I lifted the lid. Inside was a collection of cleaning supplies, spray bottles with bright yellow labels, microfiber rags in multiple colors, rubber gloves in size medium, a small mop head still wrapped in plastic, a scrub brush, and a bottle of industrial-strength floor cleaner. The scent of artificial lemon wafted up, sharp and chemical. The backyard went completely silent. "Start practicing," my father said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "This is your career, your real career." "David," my mother said softly, "that's not funny." "I'm not joking. Medical school is expensive. She'll last one semester before she drops out. Better she learns a practical skill now. Cleaning is honest work." My Uncle Thomas laughed nervously. "Come on, David, that's harsh, even for you. I'm being realistic. Anna's not doctor material. Too emotional. Not tough enough. She thinks she can handle medical school because she got good grades, but college isn't real life." I stood there holding a spray bottle in one hand and a rag in the other while my extended family watched my humiliation. "Medical school costs $200,000, my father continued. "She'll waste 1 year, drop out, and be in debt for the rest of her life. At least with cleaning skills, she can get a job." "I start medical school in August," I said quietly. "I've already been accepted." Acceptance and finishing are different things. You'll see, this will be more useful than that acceptance letter. I put the cleaning supplies back in the box and closed the lid. "Thank you for the gift." My mother followed me inside when I left. "He doesn't mean it. He's just worried about the money." "He means it, Mom. He's always meant it. Given time, when you graduate from medical school, he'll understand." I won't be inviting him to that graduation. I moved to the East Coast 2 months later for medical school. Changed my phone number. Sent my mother my address but not my father. For the next 12 years, I saw him occasionally at Christmas, and we barely spoke. He never asked about medical school. Never asked about my residency. Never asked about my career at all. I assumed he thought I'd dropped out. Maybe become a nurse, maybe actually taken his advice and gotten a job cleaning offices. My mother mentioned once that he told someone at church I was doing something with hospitals in Boston, in a vague tone that suggested failure he was too polite to specify. I didn't correct him. I was too busy becoming a doctor. Medical school was brutal in ways my father had never imagined. 100-hour weeks learning anatomy, pharmacology, and pathology. Memorizing every bone, every nerve pathway, every drug interaction. Constant exams where one wrong answer could mean the difference between passing and failing out. The pressure of knowing that mistakes in this field cost lives, not just grades. I finished top of my class, inducted into the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. Matched into a prestigious general surgery residency program at University Hospital, one of the most competitive in the country. 5 years of residency were even harder than medical school. 80 to 100-hour weeks, sleeping 4 hours a night if I was lucky, learning to make split-second decisions in the operating room. Holding people's lives in my hands while attending surgeons watched and judged. I specialized in cardiothoracic surgery during my final years, drawn to the heart and lungs, the most demanding and technically difficult field in surgery. 2 years of fellowship after that at Massachusetts General, becoming an expert, learning advanced techniques that most surgeons never master, publishing research on minimally invasive cardiac procedures, building a reputation among the small community of cardiothoracic surgeons in the Northeast. At 33, I became an attending surgeon. At 35, the hospital appointed me chief of surgery, the youngest in the institution's 120-year history. I oversaw 40 surgeons and 200 support staff. My department's annual budget was $80 million. My father knew none of this. He knew I had moved away, that I was doing something in Boston. My mother mentioned occasionally that I was still in medicine somehow, but she was vague about details because I'd asked her to be. My father never pressed for specifics. I assumed he didn't care enough to ask. Then his heart stopped working properly. Massive myocardial infarction on a Tuesday morning. His second wife called an ambulance. They brought him to University Hospital because it was the closest major cardiac center. I didn't know he was there until I reviewed the surgical schedule Wednesday morning and saw his name. David Morrison, age 67. Acute coronary syndrome requiring urgent coronary artery bypass grafting. High-risk patient due to age and extent of blockage. Consulting surgeon requested chief of surgery review. My father needed open heart surgery at my hospital, in my department. I sat in my office for 10 minutes staring at his chart. I could assign the case to another surgeon and never see him. That would be easier. But I was chief of surgery. Complex, high-risk cases required my consultation. It was my job. I put on my white coat and walked to the cardiac intensive care unit. My father was awake, propped up on pillows, an oxygen cannula in his nose. His second wife sat beside the bed. He looked older than I remembered, grayer, thinner, fragile in a way I never associated with him. I knocked on the doorframe. Mr. Morrison? I'm Dr. Morrison, chief of surgery. I'm here to consult on your case. His wife looked up first, confused. Morrison? Are you related? My father turned his head, looked at me. His eyes widened. Anna? Hello, Dad. You're a doctor? I'm the chief of surgery. I oversee all surgical departments in this hospital. His wife stood up. You're David's daughter? He said you lived in Boston, but he didn't mention. We haven't spoken much in the past 12 years. I pulled up a chair and opened his chart on my tablet. Let's discuss your medical situation. You've had a severe heart attack. 3 of your coronary arteries are significantly blocked. You need coronary artery bypass grafting, CABG surgery. We'll take vessels from your leg and use them to bypass the blockages. Is it dangerous? His voice was weak. All surgery carries risk. In your case, the risk of not operating is higher than the risk of the procedure. Without surgery, you'll likely have another heart attack within weeks, fatal this time. Will you do the surgery? Dr. Kumar will be your primary surgeon. He's an excellent cardiothoracic surgeon, one of the best in the country. I'll be supervising and available during the procedure. You're really a doctor. He said it like he was still processing. Chief of surgery. I've held this position for 2 years. His wife looked between us. David, you never said your daughter was a surgeon. I didn't know. I stood up. Someone from Dr. Kumar's team will be by this afternoon to explain the procedure in detail. Surgery is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Do you have any questions? How did this happen? Medical school, surgery, chief of surgery. You're 35 years old. 35 and 3 months. I graduated medical school at 26, finished residency at 31, fellowship at 33. I've published 23 papers and received grants totaling $2.3 million for cardiac surgery research. My father stared at me. I thought you dropped out. You hoped I'd drop out. It would have proven you right. I checked my watch. I have a meeting. Dr. Kumar will take excellent care of you. I left before he could say anything else. The surgery the next morning took 4 hours. I watched from the observation gallery. Dr. Kumar's hands were steady, his technique flawless. My father's heart stopped, then started again on bypass. The grafts went in cleanly. The heart resumed beating on its own. Textbook procedure. Recovery was slower. My father was older, his body struggling to heal. I checked on him during rounds because it was my job, not because I wanted to. Professional obligation overruled personal history. On the 3rd day post-op, I found him awake and alert. Your recovery is progressing normally, I told him, reviewing his vitals. We'll have you up walking today. Can we talk? Not as doctor and patient, as father and daughter. We can talk as doctor and patient. That's the relationship we have. Anna, please. I was wrong. About medical school, about your career. I should have supported you. You should have, but you didn't. The cleaning rags, that was cruel. I see that now. It was cruel then too. You just didn't care. I was trying to protect you. Medical school is hard. I didn't want you to fail. So you made sure I knew you expected me to fail. That's not protection. That's sabotage. His hands twisted the blanket. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't erase 12 years. Sorry doesn't erase standing in front of 30 people while you told them I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor. I was wrong. Being wrong isn't the same as being sorry, and being sorry isn't the same as earning forgiveness. I closed his chart. Your cardiac function is improving. You'll be discharged in 3 days. Cardiac rehabilitation starts 2 weeks after that. Your cardiologist will monitor you. Will I see you again? If you have surgical complications requiring readmission to this hospital, yes. I left before he could respond. My mother called that evening. Anna, I heard about your father's surgery. Thank you for taking care of him. I did my job. Any patient would receive the same care. He told me about the conversation, about the apology. Apologies are easy. Change is hard. He wants to make things right. He's had 12 years to make things right. He never tried. Maybe almost dying changed his perspective. Maybe. But that doesn't obligate me to change mine. My father was discharged 4 days post-op. I saw him once more, providing discharge instructions. He asked if we could have coffee sometime. I said I'd think about it. I didn't mean it. 6 months later, I was invited to present research at the annual conference of cardiothoracic surgeons. 300 physicians. A presentation on innovative bypass techniques. It was being held in Boston. My mother asked if she could attend. I said yes. She asked if my father could come too. I said he could sit in the audience, but we wouldn't sit together. The presentation went well. Questions from colleagues, interest from other hospitals. Afterwards, there was a reception. My father approached with something in his hands, a small wrapped package. Can I give you something? A real graduation present. 12 years late. I unwrapped it. Inside was an antique medical journal from 1923, leather-bound. Articles about early cardiac surgery techniques. Beautiful illustrations. It probably cost him several $100s. I should have given you something like this instead of cleaning supplies. I should have believed in you. Yes, you should have. Can I be part of your life now? Can we try? I looked at the journal. Thought about the cleaning rags still in a box in my office. I kept them as motivation, a reminder of what I'd proven wrong. We can have coffee occasionally. We'll see where it goes from there. But understand something, Dad. I didn't become chief of surgery to prove you wrong. I became chief of surgery because I was good enough. Your opinion of me never mattered to my career. It only mattered to our relationship. I understand. Do you? Because you never asked. In 12 years, you never once called to ask how medical school was going. Never asked about residency. Never asked anything. You decided I'd failed and never checked to see if you were right. I was ashamed. I thought if you had dropped out, asking would hurt you. So you just assumed the worst. Decided I'd failed without evidence. He had no answer for that. The cleaning rags were insulting, I continued. But the real damage was that you wrote me off. Decided my future without asking me about it. That's what I can't forgive easily. How do I fix it? Time. Consistency. Actually being interested in my life. Not just now that you know I succeeded, but genuinely interested. We did have coffee, monthly at first. Then more regularly. He came to my award ceremony when I received the Hospital Excellence in Leadership Award. He asked questions about my research. Started trying to understand the daughter he dismissed. 2 years after his surgery, he visited my office at the hospital and saw the box of cleaning supplies on my shelf. You kept those. I kept them to remember. You gave me rags and told me to clean. I run an $80 million surgery department. I clean operating rooms, just not the way you meant. I was a fool. Yes, but you're trying to be better. That counts for something. It counted for coffee dates. For awkward family dinners where we rebuilt something that looked vaguely like a relationship. For a kind of peace that wasn't forgiveness, but wasn't hatred either. He never met my expectations of a supportive father, but he stopped actively undermining me. For someone who'd started at negative, that was almost progress. The cleaning rags stayed on my shelf, reminders of where I'd come from. Proof that someone else's opinion of your potential means nothing if you refuse to accept their limits. My father gave me rags and said that was my career. I became chief of surgery and said that was his mistake. Both things were true. Only one of us was right.